What's good, guys? Fancy Joe back here with my Week 12 wide receiver rankings, half point PPR. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. You're going to want to stick around, have the latest up to date rankings, trade advice, all the tools you're going to need to win your fantasy football championship and embarrass your families and friends. If you have any fantasy football questions, you can just throw them down in that comment section down below. I respond to all comments. So if you need any advice, trade advice, or whatever you need, start sit. I got you. Yeah, let's hop right into this. So Cooper Kupp is my number one wide receiver against Green Bay. He's just scoring an astronomical amount of points this year. Especially him working in the slot, I think he gets pretty much good matchups against every team. It's not going to matter. That Green Bay is pretty good against the pass, and they're pretty banged up at corner and on defense in general. Two, Devontae Adams against the Rams, a guy that just gets it done no matter the matchup. I like Devontae this week, even though he could draw, some Jalen Ramsey potentially. I'm not worried about that. Three, Deebo Samuel against Minnesota. Deebo has been dominant lately. You're definitely rolling him out there in a great matchup with full confidence. Four, Justin Jefferson against San Francisco. Dominated last week. Is just a force in the field and needs the ball. Five, Jamar Chase. Speaking of forces, Jamar Chase has been dominant this season. Had a great game against Pittsburgh, I believe, early in the year. I think he can do it again. Pittsburgh isn't great against the pass either. Six, Chris Godwin against Indy. Godwin's been good this year. As he recovers from that toe injury, I gain more and more confidence in him being every week this high type of guy. Top 10 for sure, basically lock each and every week that Antonio Brown doesn't play. Seven, Stephon Diggs against New Orleans. I think Stephon Diggs is going to have a good game. He's just a baller on Thanksgiving, too. Eight, Mike Evans against Indy. Speaking tons of touchdown upside. Indy's pretty bad against the pass. As the same situation for Chris Godwin. Indy is not good against the pass. That's why they're both up here. Mike Evans has a higher touchdown upside and multi-touchdown upside, obviously, but a little bit less inconsistent or a little less consistent. Nine, Keenan Allen against Denver. Speaking of consistency, these next two guys, Keenan Allen and Deontay Johnson, I see them pretty similarly. They just get a ton of targets each and every week and are pretty consistent each and every week, and they're very good wide receivers. Okay, Marquise Brown against Cleveland. Brown missed last week, but if he plays this week, I'm throwing him right back into my lineup with full confidence. 12, Mike Williams against Denver. We saw a flash of Mike Williams last week. I think that he's finally recovered from that knee injury, and if that's the case, go out and see if you can get him right now. He could just be dominant the rest of the season. I think he'll have, huge games and have off games, but I think those huge games are just going to be worth those off games that he has from time to time. 13, Michael Gallup. This is a bit of projection. I don't know if CeeDee Lamb's going to play on Thursday. If he doesn't, Michael Gallup's a great play this week against Vegas. If he does, I just temper expectations. He's still a top 20 play for me this week. And obviously, you're starting CeeDee Lamb if he plays. DK Metcalf, 14. This, it's a great matchup for DK. You're still playing him, but Russ hasn't been what he used to be. DK's had a few, Russ is fine, but he's recovering from that injury. Russ is fine long term, but in the short term, I want to see one big game from him before I just start throwing him and Tyler Lockett up here. But it's a great matchup for him, so you're definitely playing him. Michael Pittman Jr. against Tampa Bay. I think they'll need to throw the ball in this one, and I think Pittman could have a good game. A.J. Brown against New England. He's banged up. Make sure he plays. New England takes away the top receiver for the team, their top option. I would temper your expectations for A.J. Brown this week for sure with that New England matchup. Okay, Terry McLaurin against Seattle. Seattle is a good matchup. Terry had a great week last week. Hopefully, that Seattle is running well on offense so that Terry could get more targets potentially in a catch-up situation or something like that. Tyler Lockett at 18. Similar situation. I'm just tempering expectations for him for a little bit until we see Russ have a breakout game. 19. Brandon Cooks against the New York Jets. This is a great matchup for him. Cooks is a good wide receiver. Tyrod's back. They didn't have to throw much last week in part because they were winning basically the whole game. That could happen again this week, but I think it should be a good game. There should be more neutral game script, which means more passing. 20. Adam Thielen. He's a goon. He plays San Francisco. You're basically playing Adam Thielen each and every week unless you have some much better options. DJ Moore against Miami. I'm rolling DJ Moore out there in this matchup. He caught that touchdown last week. This is a good matchup for him. If you can't play him against Miami, I don't know when you would. 22, Jalen Waddle against Carolina. Same matchup. Waddle is just getting a ton of targets. He looks great in the field. He's explosive. He looks like a good receiver as well, catching the ball on the sideline, doing all that stuff, separating. So I have him as a top 24 wide receiver this week, even against Carolina. 23, Brandon Aiyuk against Minnesota. Aiyuk has gone for over 80 yards in 2 of his last 3 games. I am gaining confidence in him. I think he is an every week wide receiver 2 until you see otherwise, to be honest with you. Chase Claypool against Cincinnati. Solid matchup for Chase. You know, he was utilized last week as if he was he looks fully healthy. So I have confidence in him as a back end wide receiver 2 in the right matchups. 25, Elijah Moore against Houston. I've been talking about Elijah Moore. I think he is really, going to break out, or he has been breaking out. And against Houston, that's a good matchup, even though they might not be in garbage time the whole game. So, still think you can play Elijah Moore. Odell Beckham Jr. against Green Bay, I have at 26. This is a bit of a rejection, but just hoping that, he becomes more involved over the bye week. And with Robert Woods out, they slide him into that wide receiver 2 role. Another guy we keep an eye on is Van Jefferson. I think he is worth a play just about every week with how explosive this offense can be. Although I understand if you want to bench him this week, if you have better options for sure. 27, Jarvis Landry against Baltimore. He's basically the only show in town. They got Donovan Peoples-Jones, but he's banged up right now. Don't know for sure if he'll play. I think he will, but you don't know. And Jarvis is just so solid in that slot role. 28, Hunter Renfrow against Dallas. I think Renfrow is in line for a good game. I like him, especially in like daily formats, PPR leagues. 29, Darnell Mooney. Went for over 100 and a touchdown last week. It's Detroit this week. Andy Dalton drawing the start. I think you can play Darnell Mooney. T. Higgins against Pittsburgh at 30. Another guy I think you're fine playing this week. And 31, Devonta Smith at the New York Jets. I see both of these guys as wide receiver 2 tier guys, even though I have them down here in the 30s. I think they're solid starts this week. If you guys have made to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you for watching.